Welcome back to the Prepared EDC channel. Today we're going to talk about the petrified fish beluga. I've had it for a few days now, so I think I'm ready to do a video on it. I'm very impressed with this knife. It's really nice, and I think y'all will think the same. So let's get into the video. Okay, this particular knife comes in several different colors. I chose the blue micarta, and the micarta has a very nice feel to it. It almost feels like cloth. It's smooth yet grippy, and I like it a lot. Makes a really good knife handle scale. Okay, this knife is a front flipper. You can see this little tab here at the top, and I don't have a lot of experience with front flippers, so I've had to practice with this to get it open. The way I've found that to make it easy to open is make your thumb go in a crossways motion like this, like you're just running your thumb all the way across. And I've had pretty good success just going in that motion. You don't want to come up like this or come at an angle. You want to come straight across. So I'll show you. It has this blood groove going along, or this fuller going along the top of the blade. All you need to do is put your finger inside the groove like that, and then you just flick it out. Using this blood groove to open it is really nice. Now that I have it open, this is a really beautiful knife. I love the overall look of this knife. The handle is contoured very well. Everything feels finished. It's got a little bit of jimping up here. It's not aggressive jimping, kind of smooth. But it does offer grip if you push down on it. The blade is a drop point blade with a really big belly, and it's basically full flat ground. If that fuller wasn't there, it would be full flat ground blade. So this is very slicey, and it comes down to a very fine edge. This blade cuts very well, and it was very sharp straight out of the box. But right here on the pivot, it has a petrified fish symbol. Up here at the top of the blade, it has like a little bitty, almost looks like a rhino coming at you. And on this side, we have the model number, and next to the model number is the type of steel it uses, which is K110. And I had to look that up. It's basically D2. It's called K110 because it's made by Böhler Industries in Austria, but it's a very good steel. It's a high carbon stainless steel tool steel. If you heat treat it properly, it gets very hard. It'll hold an edge for a very long time. Okay, we'll talk a little bit about the specs. The blade length is 3.62 inches. The blade thickness is 0.154 inches or 3.9 millimeters. Open, the total length of this knife from front to back is 8.35 inches, so a little bit more than 8.25 inches. The closed length from knife scale to knife scale, I measured it as 4.5/8 of an inch, so it's a little bit longer than 4.5 inches. Okay, we'll talk about the pocket clip now. As you can see, this pocket clip, it's a true deep carry pocket clip. So when you put this pocket clip in your pants, you won't be able to see any of the knife if that's something that you care about. Me personally, I don't care if the knife is showing. I don't care if people know I have a knife, but that's just me. I know that's a concern for some people. You can see if you undo this pocket clip, it'll go down into that groove there, and then you'll be able to fasten it with these two screws. And interestingly enough, this knife, when you buy it, it comes with extra washers, and it also came with some extra screws, but the screws were all black. I guess if you wanted to change out the color of the screws. I thought that was pretty interesting. This knife doesn't come with washers. It has double road bearings inside of it, and it's very smooth. So I mean, it flicks out really smoothly, but you can see that when I'm closing it, you can shake this thing closed. Okay, if you look on the inside, they are milled out. I don't know if you can see that in there. Try to get it in the shot. You can see that they're milled out on both sides. So that's for weight relief. It's a liner lock, and you can see that the liner lock, it's got a really good lockup. I mean, that's locking up about 35–40%. The liner lock, you can see it's kind of chamfered right here for comfort. So when you push it over, you're not pushing over against a 90 degree angle piece of metal. The attention to detail on this knife are very good. I'm impressed with this knife brand, Petrified Fish. It's a Chinese brand. It has a back spacer. It looks like blue micarta too, but this is smoothed out, and it's one piece of micarta for the spacer. And where your lanyard is, you have a pillar right there, and it's just kind of cut out, but this is all one piece of micarta. So I thought I'd bring out a couple other knives that are very common. Of course, I've got the Rat 1 here, and I've got the Spyderco Tenacious. So you kind of give you an idea of how big this knife is. It's very similar in size, it looks like, to the Rat 1. Of course, it's a lot wider than the Rat 1. But the Rat 1 looks like it might be just a tad bit longer. Okay, the ergos on this knife are really good. When you grip it, it's contoured and it's a little bit thicker than average, getting about 0.61 on the thickness in inches. But it feels really good in the hand when you're gripping it, and even if I grip it really hard, I don't feel this pocket clip. I guess it's low enough and it's small enough to it really doesn't bother you. I mean, this is a hard use work knife. Give you a close-up of this blood groove. It's not only really good for using it to finger flick the knife open, but it makes the blade look really cool. And you can kind of see what it looks like at the top of the blade. Now another knife that I own that uses K110 steel, and that's this real steel Akuma. This is a really cool knife. It's also running on bearings. It has G10 handle scales that are very grippy. But on this side, you could actually use a flathead to open up this knife, along with the hardware on the screws, which I thought was very interesting. This is also a liner lock. It's interesting that it only has a stud on one side, but you can use that stud. It's very smooth. It also has a very long eye hole, so it makes it just like the Petrified Fish. You can finger flick this open very easily. So you just put your middle finger in there and boom, it's open. The liner in here has some jimping on it, so it's kind of grippy to push over. It's kind of a thin liner. It's closed back construction, so it's got a piece of G10 closing off the back. It also has a similar cutout with a pillar on the inside for a lanyard. And this is also a deep carry pocket clip. You could probably just turn this around. I'm getting 0.56 on the handle thickness, so it's a little thinner. And on the blade thickness is 0.14 or about 3.5, blade stock 3.6. So this is a pretty thick blade stock also, but this is full flat ground also, and it's very sharp out of the box. Now another cool thing about the Akuma is it has a top flipper. It's not really a front flipper and it's not really a back flipper, but it's really interesting because the flipper is right here at the top corner, and so you just grab it and kind of light switch it and boom, it comes out really fast, really easy. And I love having this long hole here because it makes it really easy to finger flick. So this is the real steel Akuma. Now I weighed both of these knives on my digital scale, and I got 5.1 ounces for the Beluga and I got 4.2 ounces for the Akuma. And here's the Akuma next to the Ontario Rat 1 and the Spyderco Tenacious, and it looks almost identical in length to the Rat 1. I hope you enjoyed looking at these knives today. They're both really cool knives. I'll have to say that the Petrified Fish Beluga is my favorite of the two knives, but this is also a really cool knife. But man, they just knocked it out of the park with this one. I can see why so many people love this knife. I wish I would have bought it sooner. It's been out for a while and there's a lot of reviews online about it. All the reviews that I've looked at are mostly positive about this knife, and I can see why. Really good quality. Okay, we'll see you next time. Y'all have a great day.